No, that is not fair. That is not fair. Hang on 1 second.
This I cannot with you.
Not fair.
Welcome to a new episode of the Coach the Disconnector, featuring new logo on deck. Y'all see? It's so awesome. I love it. So, y'all, we hope you are having an absolutely fantastic week. We got a special guest in the house by the name of DJ Lady Katt. She is contributor, if not founder, of Kingdom Culture Radio. So we're going to be discussing Juneteenth because it's coming up, and I'm so excited. And we're going to be talking about the inspirational music movement that is currently going on. So without further ado, I want to ask Coach Carrie, how you doing, girl?
I'm doing amazing. I'm doing perfect. Everything is as it should be. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastical. I'm having some rough patches, but that's just part of the growth journey. So I just kind of exactly. So I'm just at a point that I'm continuing to attempt to go with the flow. Sometimes, some days and some moments in time are harder than others. But I got me another new coach on deck that's going to take care of me and help me maneuver through this part of my life journey. And I'm excited about that because y'all already know that your coach should have a coach. Yes.
That is right. Absolutely. I love it.
Y'all see it? Your coach.
What's going on, Laura? We see you, girl.
Yay.
Laura said, why y'all on today? Surprise. We switched it up, Laura. You must have missed the announcement.
Right. So now we are coming to you guys at 9:30 p.m. Eastern on Wednesdays and 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time on Wednesdays. We're still currently working on a couple of things in the background to partner with a new possible platform. But as you guys will be alerted. So let's see who we got in the house this evening. Oh, we got a whole lot of Laura. Hey, Laura, hey!
Wow, we got a whole lot of Laura.
And we love our Laura. All right, y'all. So it is time to bring on our wonderful guest, DJ Lady Katt. So let's bring her on in the room. Countdown, please.
I like that a lot.
So welcome to our wonderful show. We are definitely honored. Yes, we are honored to have you.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Most definitely. So DJ Katt, where you hail from, my love?
I am in Fort Worth, Texas.
All right now.
I know.
My sister lives in Texas. I think she's in Arlington. How far is that from you?
Not far at all, about 20 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. We're all sharing the same metroplex, and the show is broadcast from Arlington, so we're doing well. We are all.
Oh, very nice. Yeah, I know. When I went there, I went to Grapevine for my training for my previous job. So yeah, I like that area. That was the first time I'd ever been to Texas, but I liked it.
Yeah, Grapevine is really nice, especially around the holidays.
Yeah, no, good.
See, y'all make me want to travel to Texas. Say hello. So, DJ Lady Katt, I want to know Kingdom Culture Radio. What is Kingdom Culture Radio all about?
Man, Kingdom Culture Radio is all about the music and the message. You know, I used to have a very long commute when I was actually having to leave the house to go to work. And I was listening to various streaming services, and one artist led to another. And I'm like, hey, I'm a music head. Why didn't I know about all this that was going on? And so that is what Kingdom Culture was born out of, my commute. And just a sincere love for hip hop music, really all music, but hip hop and R&B. And I'm like, hey, we need some other vessels or other platforms where I can share this music and reach out and work with other creators that are in that same vibe and that same space. Just, is plenty of room at the table. There's no competition in God's kingdom. So if we are doing it together, everybody wins. Everybody wins. So for his glory, for our good.
I love that.
it.
That's so good. It's so aligned with so many things that everybody in the audience that I've seen so far is really working towards. Is one of the actually cornerstones of ATBA, which is the company that I'm the nonprofit that I'm the founder of. And we're always eliminating competition through collaboration, because that's what the sweet spot is. There is no, we are just different entities of the same whole. So the more we figure out that way to collaborate, the stronger we all become individually and collectively. I love that.
Yeah. Because for sure, God gave you part of a vision. He gave your other collaborators part of the vision. And even though you may share, it may look the same because y'all are not gifted the same, it doesn't have the same outcome. But when you pull it all together, it makes it that much cooler. Makes it dope.
Oh, definitely. So I have to know, because I have a few favorite artists out here. One of my main ones actually being an artist by the name of D1, who's fairly unknown to the mainstream, but the man is absolutely amazing. And you guys have a lot of artists, especially within the Hebrew community, that I know you're listening to a lot of that music coming out. That's why I'm excited when Sister is actually able to join us too, to learn more about some of them artists. So who are some artists that you know about that people may be sleeping on that's producing motivational and inspirational music?
It's a lot. I love D1. He was just at the House of Blues here in Dallas not too long ago. So I was happy to see him on tour with them, and I'm sure he's going city to city. And so D1 definitely. Cannon is another one that people sleep on. Then you have Jay Monty. He's been on my playlist a lot. There's Mouthpiece. There's Bizzle. There's No Big Deal. No Big Deal is independent, but he sold over 1 million units twice. 2 different projects. And,
wow.
And then we have a lot of dope women in the game. And when I first came on, I'm like, where are my women? Where are my women? So in the Hebrew community, there's your Pa Q. And
yes, I love her stuff.
A few others. And then you have Erica Mason and AI The Anomaly. She's signed to Bizzle, who used to be signed to Lecrae. And it's just so many. I could go on. Portia Love.
I was like fast as I could. And I'm like, I ain't never heard of none of these people.
That's why you have to tune into Kingdom Culture Radio. So off of our website, we stream 24/7. And then we have the live show on Monday. So it's Monday Night Live, Kingdom Culture on Facebook and YouTube.
Right.
So
I love it.
But
now you're going to have to drop that in the comments. Drop any links to Kingdom Culture Radio, anything to do with our brew community, because we love our Hebrew brothers and sisters out here.
And just that I'm brew friendly.
Yes,
I am DNA, but I'm not an Israelite. But they have really embraced me and supported me, so I'm really grateful.
And that's what I love about our brew family.
I love it.
So I did want to know also, like, what does Juneteenth mean to you? Because I know this is only the second year that's being officially recognized, but those of us that know about it have been celebrating for a long time now. And speaking of which, I was kind of quite irritated. I'm not even saying kind of. I was very irritated at Walmart.
Oh, God.
Damn Juneteenth ice cream. Like, what the hell was y'all thinking?
Juneteenth ice cream?
Juneteenth ice cream. Like, don't be pandering. Y'all already get enough of our money. You better sit down and have several seats and shut up, Walmart.
They had to try it. They have remember they used to have the Martin Luther King white sale. Y'all remember that?
No. They used to white.
I'm so sincere right now.
I'm not ready. should be fired in marketing.
They could have picked any color. Any color.
Linen sale, like, you know, but you're still selling sheets on MLK Day.
Oh,
So,
God.
so, you know, and I think that's the biggest challenge that it's going to face becoming a holiday is just not degenerating it by commercializing it, you know, to kind of keep the sacredness of it. I mean, Miss Opal Lee walked long and hard to get this made into an official holiday, and you know, want to try to keep the sacredness of it. But you know, I know a lot of people are divided on the issue of Juneteenth because they're like, "Why are we celebrating? They got it too. They got the news 2 years late." You know, and to that I say, I have to pull something from my pastor right now. Pastor, you know what they call him in the pastor? Yeah. So anyway, in that there's two different kinds of time. You have your chronos time that's chronological, and you have your cryos time that's in seasonal. So they may not have gotten the news in chronos or in what we know as our calendar time, our linear time, but they got it in the fullness of time when it was right and when it was ready for them. So I know it brings up different emotions, you know, but hey, that's where we got our ingenuity from. That's where we got our ability to keep celebrating deep within our spirit, even when we're going through some trauma and some tragedy, and just a lot of greatness that still carries on. And if they had had that victim mentality the way we have it today, then we wouldn't be where we are today. So on that, I will be quiet. But that's my soapbox about Juneteenth.
Oh no, so this conversation can go wherever you want to take it. DJ Lady Katt. Free flow around here.
Yeah, we love it. And we love it. We love for people to share what they feel about things. We can say all day what we think, and we will be 100% right. But as anyone else say what they think, they're also 100% right. Because it's about our circle of awareness, our circle of consciousness, our circle of experience. We filter everything through our experiences. And just like the information that comes down from Juneteenth back then, just as you said, it got to who it was supposed to get to at the very moment it got to them. And that goes for any information, whether spiritual, emotional, social, business. Like we get things right when we're supposed to. Some of us get things what we were, considered too soon. But then the lesson would have been missed had we got it on time, quote unquote. Some feel like we get information too late. Oh, if I'd have known that yesterday. Had you known that yesterday, you might not have been ready to be a good steward of the information you received yesterday. So everything is very timely and everything is on time. So I completely agree with that.
In the fullness of the season. So, yep. And I used to be one of those people to be like, hey, I don't know how I feel about this.
Honestly, I'm of the opinion that for Juneteenth, I feel like Juneteenth would be more like celebrate that we're finally free. But I believe it should be more of a slave memorial day. Like remember who came before us. Take time to take heed of what you're doing in your life. Are you heading in a direction that those that sacrificed before us would be proud of? Or are you out here just effing off everything that they worked so hard for, whether it was intentionally or not? A lot of people lost their lives, like literally lost their lives, or lost their lives to working for free for hundreds of years, or just lost their ability to be considered a human being for a very long period of time. So a lot of sacrifice, even from then up into the times of Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and everything that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's been fighting for, the fight is still continuous. So I feel like it should be a time of reflection. And if anything else, like we should not be out here spending a whole bunch of money to have cookouts and stuff on Juneteenth. Like if you're going to spend the money, buy yourself a couple of days ahead of time or wait till after the holiday itself. June 19th should be a day that none of us buy nothing. Not
Oh,
even
I like that. I never thought about it, but like that. But I like that a lot. I like that a lot. And take time to educate yourself too. And
right.
when I was in high school, I was sharing with some of my friends, and this was many, many moons ago, that my grandfather had to buy his brother, his sister, and a few other siblings. I can't remember how many, out
Wow.
of it was indentured servitude on a sharecropping farm, so it looked more like slavery. And they were down near Sugarland, probably a little bit further out, probably about in Richmond at that particular time. But he actually, and this was like in the 60s, but he
Mm.
had to get an attorney to get them out because they were saying that they signed a contract and all they could really do is put an X on a piece of paper.
Right.
So that was 1960.
A lot of people aren't aware that the last recorded slave wasn't freed until like 1964. So I can
Mm.
definitely believe that. I
So
can
yeah,
definitely believe that. Now that's
I
not a
mean,
common thing learned in any typical history class. That my husband is like an entire walking encyclopedia, thesaurus, and dictionary all in one. So I know things that about America's history that most people don't even want to ever acknowledge happened because it's so savage and mean. Like games like African Dodger, like
mm,
they literally have pay people to put their head in a hole so that folk could throw a baseball at their head.
Okay.
And some people would allow their children to be the ones to put their head in the hole. And if for some reason the child's life was lost due to the injury from a baseball, they were paid. And I'm like, this is stuff that we need to know. It's part of this country's history. And it doesn't need to be bad or good. It needs to be acknowledged because the same people are descendants of those that thought that that kind of behavior was okay. And you don't just over the course of 50, 75, 100 years lose that
yeah.
type of cruelty. That's how we have the George Floyd incidents and the Breonna Taylor incidents. Is it Freddie Gray, the gentleman that they didn't bother to put a seatbelt on and he ended up with a broken neck? Like that's how these things happen. We're not acknowledging the true basis of the history of this country so we can confront it and move forward in unity as we actually should. Not pretending, not being politically correct about it, but confronting it and saying, yo, that was messed up. How can we do better?
Right.
For sure, for sure. And I think about it all the time when I watch some of the movies. I wish I had my mom's little antique book. Oh gosh, it's called Little Nigger Learns How to Count. And I'm sorry to use the word, but hey, that's what the name of the book is.
Right.
And she uses it to do Black history presentations and things of that nature when she has an opportunity. But I don't remember when this book was written. Early 1900s, and I think she found a first edition somewhere. But we do have, but the same spirit that wrote that book, those same spirits that were in those people as they were taking pieces of flesh and things of that nature as souvenirs from lynchings and all of that, spirits are eternal. They just find a new home.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
Why I have the level of fight in me that I have,
Yep.
and like I'm very subtle about my fight, but I do fight in my own way. That's the reason why I fight to build these businesses and learn to invest on a higher level and establish a financial legacy that lasts beyond me and my children.
Yes, definitely pick them up.
Because so much was pulled from under. It's like they didn't want to compete. But my thing is, if you are truly superior, why are you scared of?
You're going in and out, Brandy. Is she going in and out for you too, DJ?
Yes, she
And
is.
Okay, you're going in and out a little bit. That last part,
competition in the the judicial system.
Brandon, I feel like we're about to lose you or something. I think you're actually frozen now. Maybe go out and come right back in. But
I'm going in and out.
yeah, you're going in and out, Boo. So you might want to let's see.
Like the commercial, but I feel what she was saying. You know, we definitely need economic empowerment and financial literacy to help level the playing field, along with a whole lot of mental health services.
That part,
Yes.
you know, that the next thing is definitely mental health, and it's funny how we evolve, how different things kind of start showing up, and we're on a different level. It said that's the 5G phenomenon. Yeah, that's the fifth dimension phenomenon. But as we all expand and we attain more knowledge and we realize that spiritual connection that we all have, it's not just the people who are kind of left behind that needs that mental guidance. It's a lot of the people who are coming to the awareness and they don't know what to do. They don't know what to do next. Like, yeah, that was like even the families who came from the people who did these terrible things, they need mental health because they need to detach themselves from the sins of their forefathers. Just like we need to break generational curses.
Yes.
Boy, do they need to break some generational curses.
Right.
But you can't do that when all you're looking at is the privilege and not the curse. But
Right.
I don't acknowledge privilege either.
Right. Right.
It's interesting that you say that because I'm actually one of these weird people that hope that they mess around and repeal the affirmative action. Because one, if this country is truly about diversity, equity, and inclusion, the repealing of affirmative action will show who's actually trying to be culturally sensitive to include all people versus those that will eventually fail, because the best minds in this country are not middle to older white men.
Right.
And I'm just gonna leave that right there. Mine
that
refuse to return that refuse to return to work right now. The women, our LGBTQ plus individuals, our brother kings and sister queens out here that are more than qualified for the jobs that they're placed in because they basically didn't know the right people whose butts to kiss, or maybe they didn't have a relative or a connection to get to a position that they're more than qualified for, and to excel at, to actually build out any company that would actually accept them and lift them up. So I believe that the repealing of affirmative action would show where we're actually at as far as our society.
Right. That's definitely a way to look at it. I never really thought of it that way.
Not at all. And I don't
feel
when
bad
you're
about only hiring people that are qualified, regardless of ethnicity, culture, sexual background, whatever it might be. Like, first thing that I'm considering is, one, you're human. Two, are you qualified?
right.
It's the only two things I need to know.
But
you know, they give you this big thing and let's think outside the box. It's not like I'm not thinking outside of the box. I'm just thinking within my own box, which is different from your box because of my life experiences. So that's why it looks genius to you. But if we get rid of affirmative action, then you're back into your own box of solutions that don't really work all that well as you don't look at it from a different perspective. So, you know, hey, sometimes you got to shoot yourself in the foot, but we'll see.
yeah, right.
Oh man,
That's so true though. It's so true. And again, the lesson will be learned one way or another. The lesson will always be learned one way or another. The book that I'm reading now, it talks about how we all have these lessons that we will learn. We must learn. And the way that we learn it is up to us. Because we can learn it through the lens of fear and doubt. We can learn it through the the lens of love and awareness and elevation. Because the same thing can happen to two different people, and depending on how they choose to look at it, will determine how they experience it. So, we are all elevating at some point. We will all be whole again. But between, they say it's the dash that matters. What you doing in the dash? What are you doing in the dash? This is the dash. If you didn't know what the dash is, life. This is the dash.
Yeah, girl. I tell my little headstone is already down. My grandmother made sure of that. I don't know why, because I told her I didn't want to be buried. But and my look, it's just only thing is missing is my end date. And I always look at that and say, whoo, mighty, I have a lot to do.
Yeah, right. And when you really think of that, you're like, I do have things to do. And if I leave here before I think, of course, I'm not done. Because if I leave, that means I'm done. I want to make sure that I've lived in a way that someone will know where to pick up. And it will continue and continue and continue. And that awareness will continue to expand whether I'm here or not.
Yes, that legacy is so important. And it's even what we do. My brother had freaked me out when I first started Kingdom Culture Radio, because he's like, man, your grandkids gonna be able to look back and know exactly who you are. And I'm like, whoa. And I think when I started the online platform, I wasn't ready for that revelation.
Yeah. And it makes you be so much more intentional and make sure that you're being who you want to be. So that no one looks back and think, oh, that was really cool. And because I know for me, I've looked back on some of my videos and I can pinpoint if there's anything within there. And I'm like, I didn't really mean that. I know I've done that for me. I'm like, I did not mean that. But I was just, you get caught up in the hype of what someone else is saying, and then you find yourself agreeing with them, knowing good damn well you don't agree. So yeah, it really does when you think about that dash and knowing that it's going to be a number put in there one day. It makes you more intentional about you being who you want to be.
And that was hard. This was a spiritual journey for me. Kingdom Culture was definitely a spiritual journey. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be at all. Yeah. Because I had to reclaim my voice and redefine myself.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize how much of my personal power that I had given away by being silent and complacent. So I had to come back to, actually I stepped away. I did 23 podcasts last year, and I was like, okay, we're going to end the season and we're going to jump right back in after a couple of months. I'm going to retool. And then I launched the 24-hour stream, but it was a while before I went back in because I really had to sit down in prayer and meditation and decide. Well, not me decide. That was part of the problem. Let spirit decide. Who and what I was
what it was going to look like.
What it was going to look like. And recommit what I thought was his. Well, it was his idea, but I had to recommit it to God in order and step back just to let him do what he's going to do with it.
Yeah.
So I'm happy. Happy.
That's so good. We always think that sometimes there's something in our way or something hinders us in our path, but the only thing on our path is us.
Mm-hmm. And I was listening to y'all before I came on, and you said you're trying to just go with the flow. That's my thing. I have to let my cork float.
Yeah, and that's exactly right.
But the harder, the longer the process takes. So I have moments that I get angry and frustrated and disappointed in things going on. I have to.
I don't know what's going on with the service there, Brandy.
It's dang weather.
That's what I was getting ready to say.
We had storms come through here yesterday. Actually, day before yesterday, the power went out. The storms got so bad. Well, the lightning was bad. The storm actually went. But yeah, I feel you. So let me ask you, what prompted Kingdom Radio? Sorry, Kingdom Culture Radio.
It's because I knew, like pre-pandemic, I knew that a lot of young people, namely my daughter, were starting to question a lot, and her friends. We've had conversations to where they just weren't being reached. And I'm like, maybe this music will touch and reach people in a new way, because hip hop is transformative. It's
Yeah,
changed the way we live and do life and business, just period. Even though we don't
right,
often get the credit for it, changed the
right.
way we market. It changed the world. It changed the world. It became universal. So it has a power. That's why they use it and weaponize the music that we commonly hear on the air now when you're listening to secular music, because music affects the spirit.
Yes, it does.
And what was the answer to that? It was the urban inspirational hip hop and artists and art rhythm and praise artists. That was the counter. So hey, I have ratchet tendencies. I don't walk on water.
Right.
There's still a few songs I'd be like, hey, but
That's my jam.
on my jam. But all in all, that balance was needed. And
Right.
I know it's being successful when some of the younger people in my life come up and show me their playlist. Oh, I
Yeah.
thought, man, I like that. I like that. That was a jam. I really like that. So the music in that genre, it has evolved a lot,
Mhm.
because I know that it was getting flack for a long time of being thought of as, being corny and not relatable, just kind of like a traditional gospel kind of imposed over a hip hop beat. But now they're speaking their truths. They're speaking truth about traumas they've experienced in life and losing from abandonment from fathers and lost loves and sexual
Right.
abuse and trauma. And even you got Erica Mason and Jackie Hill Perry talking about, you know, being in that gay lifestyle and trying to come out of it, or however do it. And I'm not saying that you can pray the gay away. Everybody's journey is different, but their journey has been one of deliverance. So you just have a broad spectrum out there, and I love it because I
Yeah.
think it rings true. It rings true because now my grandson can't listen and say, "Oh, Gigi, I don't like that because
Y'all ain't got something to say, right?
I don't like that because he gonna do this here and then he's gonna show up and he's gonna act XYZ over here." And I'm like, not necessarily so. And I think that's why Lecrae got a bad rap when he started talking about, because people thought he fell away from the faith. He just fell away from evangelicalism.
Mhm.
And he had
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about that because I wholeheartedly believe in God and His Word. I do not believe in churches. I don't in religion. I feel like religions attempt to put God in that to do that. There is no one correct religion in the entire world. We all just call God by different names.
And that's where I am with that. Like I said, to each his own. Everybody is on their own path because different messages resonate. And this mic is giving me the blues, girl. Different messages resonate with different people depending on where you
Right.
are in your life. But no, I was in a deep, deep, deep. I don't know if you could get any more religious. Nah,
You remember
you don't sneeze the right way, you going to hell. So it was a lot. It was a lot, and it was about that bad. it was a lot to untangle and deprogram and put, and I think that's what really happened with my daughter. It was the rules and the religion and all of that that wasn't making sense with what she was reading and what she was studying. And she's like, we had to break away. And it was an uncomfortable break, because when you have been saturated in something and raised in something forever, and then you realize that it was wrong. And it wasn't just realizing it was wrong, it was all of the people that I hurt, that I feel I wounded by repeating those rules and that message, because it was just really making us take on more guilt and shame and fear and self-loathing. And it didn't have any other way to address the pain. All it was doing was pointing a finger. It wasn't looking at what was on the inside that needed to be cleaned up to help make you holy. So it was, it's been a transformative experience.
I love what Laura just said here. She said, show any way that he needs to get through to you.
Right.
He shows out for his glory.
And it is true. Because that being in that faith kept me out of a lot of trouble when I was younger. Because I was scared I was going to hell.
You know what? That's what grace is. You know, sometimes we think that we were wrong, but in that wrongness, it was so right for us for that period of our lives. Right. Because had we not been operating under a sense of what we now think may have been wrong, we may have actually done something that was more detrimental to our soul, other than believing something that we no longer believe.
Yes.
And I love that.
You know, I actually
temptation comes in a lot of different ways.
Right. And that's why I asked my mother recently, like we were talking, because we both have our relationships with God. And I was asking her, I was like, how come we never grew up in the church? She said, I wanted you to know God in your own way. And not on you. Because it's more genuine about the relationship when you're able to your own way. And yes, the Bible is there as instructions, but the Bible can over time. Not in the Holy Spirit upon you can't interpret it right the way God wants you to understand. If you don't have that relationship and with the Holy Spirit, you'll read the Bible, take literally, and do it with it. And appreciate them about that and let me know why did we go to church every now and then. But so okay, knowing who God is, understanding and still studying it as I grow in that relationship. As my quote, I like that.
I tried to hang on to as much as I could of that. It was in and out again, Brandy. But in a nutshell, and DJ Lady Katt can tell me what she thinks, but to me, it refers right back to we all have to work out our own salvation.
Yep.
Period. It doesn't matter how you do it. Again, we are all evolving, and it depends on the lens of which you look through it. The atheist and the Christian are still going to meet at the same place at the end of the day. We just are. We just are. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust.
Dust to dust. Yeah, and I think,
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I say I agree. I agree. And, no, I am of the belief, this is Catherine talking, is that only the Holy Spirit can come in and transform you. And so I'm not I'm trying, that's not the goal of the station. It's just a higher vibe. Because I don't know if y'all have had a chance to go to like a Christian hip hop music event or a Hebrew music event, whatever's going on, whoever's hosted. But it's just something, there's an anointing in the room. You can feel it.
Right.
You can sincerely feel it.
Really.
And there is absolutely nothing like it. And you know
Right.
God is in the room, you know his spirit is there. And it just feels so great. And you leave and you just feel totally awesome. So
Right.
that's why I'm like, why not? I'm not trying to convert anybody to anything. It's just that, you know, it never hurts to have a little positivity and just be lifted a little higher, especially with the world looking the way it's looking these days.
Right.
So
Yeah.
no, we're not trying. Yeah, and again, I know me and my daughter call it the cult. I had to be and be deprogrammed, but it served its purpose where it served its
Yeah.
purpose. And then coming out of it, and now I feel like when I go to church, it's on my own terms.
Right.
And I was just blessed enough to have a, a spiritual leader. One of my pastors, like a brother to me now, that kind of tell me, oh, well, you know, Katt, you know, that's not, you know, they're not, that's not what's in the word. We're getting tradition mixed up with what God said. We're just getting our rules and our traditions mixed up with what the truth is. And so it took about 3 years.
Mm.
It took
Wow.
about
I
That
3
honestly don't believe we'll know the truth until we meet our maker.
Mm-hmm. And well,
Right.
yeah, and that is true too. Because I think it's kind of what's my word? I can't think of my word right now because I'm on these lights and cameras. But when you start, I just think it's conceited in a way to think that we would know all of God's plan. He's so big and so vast and so mysterious. He said he was mysterious, you know, and you just got to keep trusting and going out to the deep and keep your heart open for understanding and just follow, you know.
Yeah.
So that's my thing. I just listen and follow.
With the inner ear. Absolutely. Because the truth, sometimes the truth may hurt, but it will not harm.
Yep.
Yeah.
All it says, do you trust me? And I'll be like, okay, Dad, I trust you.
Right.
Here we
Okay, I'm
go.
ready. Oh man. But that's just how it be sometimes. Like sometimes you just blindly trust, and sometimes you're like, I got questions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was reading my book this morning, and one of the things that he was talking about was when we start to ask questions, you know, even in prayer, meditation, however you want to do it, they do come. The answers always come. It just may not be for us to know it. The answers are there. We just don't always have to know what the answers were. And just trust that it's orchestrated. The answer is orchestrating around us and through us, even when we don't comprehend it ourselves. Because a lot of the answers that we're asking for are delivered, but they're beyond our comprehension because it's such a divine answer. So we just got to trust that it's being answered.
For sure.
That's where faith comes in. Reading the word
That's,
of person. I know it took me a while to get behind the doubts and the begats and all of that.
the doubts in the beginning.
I needed a different version of the Bible to understand all that. English Standard Version, please. I
Yeah.
love that one.
Well, do y'all remember it? And this is what I go to when I'm a little shaky. So it was when Jesus went up to Mount Transfiguration and the man brought his son. His son was possessed with these demons, and the demons were throwing his son into the fire. He was like, I'm assuming like real violent type seizures going on. And don't ask me for chapter and verse because I don't know. I know it's in Mark. I think it's in Matthew. No, Matthew wasn't there. So I think it's in Mark and Luke. So anyway, Jesus gone, and he had anointed the disciples with the Holy Spirit to take care of people in his absence. And so the man brought him to the disciples, and they couldn't get the demon out.
Yeah.
So long story short, Jesus comes back. The man approaches Jesus like, hey, I brought them to your people. They couldn't do anything for him. And so he had two messages, one for the man, one for the disciple. One for the man, he said, well, he did not get healed because you didn't believe it was going to happen.
Right.
And the other one for the disciples was, hey, you wasn't prayed up enough to help this man. Right. You wasn't spiritually in tune to even be able to assist him in getting rid of this demon. But right. Going back to the man, Jesus told him, he's like, you didn't believe. And the man simply said, I believe, but help me in my unbelief. Mm-hmm. And that is what I say when I seem to be facing these other demons, or the demons within myself, or not even demons, just doubt, and even fear sometimes. It's like, Father, I believe, and I just help me in my unbelief. And even with forgiveness, Father, I don't have it in me to forgive them right now, so you're gonna have to do it for me until I can get there. So I have used that one helps me like a lot. And when mountains aren't moving, I have to go back and check my prayer life, because I might be like the disciples were there and I just wasn't prayed up enough to make anything happen or allow the Spirit to flow through me. Maybe there was something that needed to be cleared up. However that works. Like me and this mic right here. I believe you're going to stand up.
She said, this get me blue. That's it for me.
Laura said, you can't get more gangster than the book of Proverbs.
You can't. I love book of Proverbs, but that's where that one came from for me. Like I said, everything speaks to everybody differently. And now that was Psalms. That's why it's KCR 91, because of Psalms 91. That's my favorite verse overall. But scripture in the Bible. But yeah. So I wasn't expecting to end up here, girl. But yeah, I'm glad we are.
I love it.
Yeah, we get that a lot. Normally, like, people used to come on and being told, okay, this is what we're gonna do, and then this segment, and then this, and then this, and then this, and then we're gonna do this.
I'm gonna add
this right here.
Yes, we got 10 minutes for that. Yeah, bye.
Well, I am going to do one thing, because I was supposed to do it at the beginning. That's why Carrie wasn't ready when we came on, but now time for a sponsored segment. We'll be right back.
Okay.
Yeah, so that is our wonderful sponsor, Jay Nicole of the Scale to Six Figure Facebook group, private Facebook group. So if you're somebody out here that only got over your scarcity and scared mindset in regards to money, and you need to get your credit straight, establish business credit, establish the proper structure in your business in order to get access to funding, this is where you want to be. And again, I let it scroll to the bottom of the screen. It's called the Scale to Six Figure Business Group. It's private, but you can go to tmc6figuregroup.com. It'll take you right over there. You don't have to answer the questions. We like it if you answer the questions, but as long as you agree to the group rules, you will get let in. And that's that. Come on
in the room.
So, before we close out tonight's episode, DJ Katt, DJ Lady Katt, what is something that you have experienced? Because you mentioned getting through to your daughter earlier. Our youngsters are very hard-headed, and I don't think they intend to be. It's just the environments in which they find themselves in, and they're realizing earlier and earlier in life that some adults just don't like life. They call BS. Mm-hmm. So what have you discovered helps to relate better to our younger generations that are coming up?
Listen,
Hey,
don't judge. Because a lot of them just want to be heard, and they want to know that their opinions are valuable, whether we agree with them or not. I think adults in general just need to learn how to listen with our mouths closed, and just give them that acknowledgement and the encouragement. And that's what I do with her. And when she's talking, I just don't shake my head and wait for my time to double dutch and jump in and offer my rebuttal. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. Where did you get so-and-so from? Where did you learn this? How did you come up with that? And it works wonders, actually. And learn how to speak her love language, because her love language is validation.
Yeah.
And make sure that she has that. And it works like a charm.
That's very powerful. Listening is one of, I feel like, the most powerful things. And exactly the way you said it. Listen to relate, communicate, and conversate, not to rebuttal.
Right.
Because we'll get stuck on one thing. We hold so tight to that one thing that we want to say that we don't really process or comprehend the rest of the things that they're trying to say. We got to look at it in totality, not like cherry picking, because a lot of times we cherry pick our conversation.
And that work, it even helps me at work. I'll be like, okay, you just need somebody to listen to you.
Right? Right? It's the truth. We all do. We all really want to know this. I mean, you talk to somebody, you can feel it when they ain't really paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even want them. But when you know that they're listening, and again, they don't have to agree. That's not the point. The point is not to agree. The point is to really engage in a genuine conversation. Listen. Listening is typically, if it's not productive, typically listening is the thing that was missing.
Yeah, if it starts degenerating, even when my daughter get a little combative, I'd be like, oh, time for us to go be great. I'll talk to you later.
Time to go be great.
All right, represent well.
Right.
Act like you got home training, stay out of trouble.
I love it. I love
it too.
So man, because I didn't hear exactly. You said this Kingdom Culture Radio is on Facebook, correct?
Yes, we are on Facebook, and it's Kingdom Culture Radio online. We're also on IG, and the website is where we typically stream. Well, not typically. That's where the 24-hour radio station is. So that's kingdomcultureradio.com. We broadcast on 365 Live. That's where we stream. And our artists do get credit for their streams on the station. So it's just not being played.
All right. Awesome. I can't wait
And
to listen.
also, you ladies, if you have content you're welcome to repurpose, hey, call me.
Okay. Yeah, that's
We
awesome.
love that. We
I'm
love partnering with as many people as we can, just trying to get positive messages out there. I will say we do be coming on this show, but it's only because my big mama told me sometimes you got to put a darn what a dang won't do, or vice versa. We've been good tonight, though.
It's
That's all you gotta do, huh?
everybody got their little corner store words.
I got more to go. So, guys, if you have enjoyed our beautiful queen DJ Lady Katt, be sure to connect at the Kingdom Culture Radio, whether you're on Facebook or going directly to the live stream at kingdomcultureradio.com. Tune in, log in, learn about some of these positive artists out here because a lot of us love music. And like I said, I love the beats that Cardi B and people like Megan Thee Stallion and them come out with, but the lyrics are too harsh for my spirit, I'll just say.
Right.
So there are a lot of great
what they're saying.
right. Well, I hear and understand what they're saying. I'm like, who says this? Oh my gosh.
If you like them, you would like Wande, Wande. Check Wande out.
Yeah.
Keisha in the house.
Mm-hmm.
Voila! Just in the nick of time.
You made it. You slid on in here. So, guys, before we jump off of here, I want to give you a couple reminders. Y'all talk every Tuesday evening. If you don't know what it is, take a peek at this.
1, 2, 3. Wow. Boom. What? Wow. Hey.
You can't control a man. If you can control him, that's a boy.
He is not worth it.
So put a pound 22 on that one.
Stop.
I'll slap you.
Yeah. Gary, I freaking love your work, man.
That was nice.
I had fun with that one.
Yes. You got to do a revision on the disconnecting now.
I know, right? I know, I do.
So, guys, Fem Talk is every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, 5:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, and what time is it? 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And we just have a lot of fun and talk about the things that our mothers would talk about when we was younger, or even when we're older now. Because, like, there's a lot of things within the Black community and beyond that needs to be talked about and just pushed under the rug somewhere and hope we forget about it, because obviously the patterns keep repeating, so it's not being forgotten about. It's in the subconscious, it's in the spirit. We got to work through these things, y'all. So with that, I want to thank you so much, DJ Lady Katt, for joining us tonight, and of course you're welcome to join us again in a future episode. We absolutely love you. We love your spirit. We love what you're about, and yeah, we're just so happy that you joined us this evening. Carrie, what you got?
Hey, I'm just saying, continue, go ahead, be blessed, be you. And any mistake that you think you may have, just know the answer is still right there, just as close to what you think is a mistake. You are exactly where you're supposed to be at the exact time. Just filter it all through love. That's all I got.
It has been wonderful to be here with you, and man, looking forward to coming back one day. So,
oh yeah, you're going back.
All right. Hang on in the green room for us, and we'll be right with you. Don't go nowhere, DJ Lady Katt. All right, y'all. We'd like to thank you for your time this fine evening. Keep sticking with us because we got changes in the works. No matter what those changes look like, they are coming. You see the new logo, you see the vibe. We're continuing this thing moving forward, and we just gonna keep pulling and tugging at it until we make it exactly what y'all need it to be. So, as always, we want to remind you guys that your coach should have a coach. And be blessed, be happy, and we will see y'all next Wednesday at 9:30.